Schmoedown Rockers, what's up? Hope y'all are safe from the somewhat, well, are able to, at least go out in the sense of being able to, be able to make money. I've kind of I'm lucky enough to even have that today. Hopefully my job ain't gonna get, so far it's just more like quarantine earner sales at this moment. So a lot of things have happened in the past week or so. First having been, something that eventually led to this, something that because of coronavirus is not going to be much of a thing, at least as far as Houston's concerned, in which I feel bad for the Cinefanatics, because I was actually going to throw in Cinefanatics versus Double Toasted. Hell, all you have to do is probably tell Corey and Martin that Tyler Perry is a wheel slice. They'll be like, fuck it, we're in, we'll put it on for a round 2. And if they can't even get that, they're fucked. So, yeah. Overall, this is the, yes, so the number one contender match that was delayed that turned out to have wound up apparently having been the Star Wars match between Sean Sullivan and Adam Witt. That was basically in the place of the schedule for the Corruption match. I don't think they were ever planning on doing a Star Wars match that soon. So, there's that. And it was a fun one. So, we wouldn't have gotten to see a nice 5-pointer pull like that Adam Witt pulled out of his ass. Which, speaking of that, thanks for the birthday, Adam. Actually, in fact, to everyone who, thank you, including Code Orange. We'll get to that eventually. That's another video. Underneath is the album. You'll know later. I'll probably post something eventually. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, depending on if they've decided to not have anything. Which means if that's the case, I don't even know if you're going to get to see this video by the time I get finally a chance to upload it. Kind of sucks, because I may have to be... man. If not, I'm going to have to just start doing live streams talking about these in the dungeon in place of Schmoedown Rocks, or basically I'm going to have to tell y'all, here's my channel, go to it, or my Facebook page. But anyways, that's something I'm saying pondering on. But for right now, Corruption versus the Family. By the time you see the thumbnail of this, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Hence the censorship. Why I used their thumbnail as a censorship bar, in case you're wondering. So, it started off strong, and Mike kind of made a fuck up, and then all of a sudden, round 2 changes everything, as expected. And of course, it's a DCU. That's once again why I feel like things needed to change. And the Coen brothers question that they missed on, that they went one-pointer, which was the only good, smart thing that was said out of this whole thing. And it sucks that Guy did miss the 3. But McWeeny just was lucky enough to have a better day. And apparently he's thinned down too. Wow. And Sam Levine wasn't there for this one, which you'd think with this important one he would be there. Hell, he was there for Janine's, but they just asked Janine to come in place of her, and so them for him. And Debonair comes out. I'm trying to think of what movie, because it's clearly more like a pimpy outfit because of the chain, the way it is done. It's like a very, or at least a disco-y pimp outfit. I don't know. With the chain thing, because it's not really a tie, if we're being honest. But anyways, of course it was a suit thing, as expected. And also some gotten into the mind games part. He got Because if you've seen the bonus question when Chance got it, yeah, damn. He pulled up, like, McWeeny was actually, like, up all on him like Guy used to be, as when he was Dastardly. So it's like, where was this when we needed it, you know? Like, back when he was Dastardly. Like, this is a heel move. More on that later. And initially, if not for the Throwdown, not the Throwdown, no, the backstage. She went on backstage. I would not have known that that was legit and not some storyline set up for Houston. And that was, well, and then of course after three-pointer, all that stuff, and that was McWeeny retired. It turns out that he had to because he just wasn't going to be able to make schedule. But that's more because of whether or not he would have to make time because if he went to the championships. And that's what he was going to do. And unfortunately it never happened, and now we're kind of stuck with, for the first time ever, a mother matchup between Corruption, but this time it's number 4. Whereas the third one was more so Founding Fathers having cashed that in. And first time ever, a time where someone cashed in a spot for a title shot and actually pulled it off. And it just worked itself out because they weren't on their, and it was just perfect timing too. And now he wants his belt back, Kalinowski. And now Guy's chance of being able to finally get a belt, which was in teams, is now went to crap because now family seems to have become no more. And Abby Friel, as much as your little thing's supposed to be kind of funny, in the sense of the possibility that, well, it depends on how Who's the Boss does against Odd Couple, and if there's anything to come of it. Because somehow I don't know how these certain types of breakups and how they're going to affect with the changes now made with the draft and, you know, how the factions are being run lately, like teams. So I don't know how they could do that and be able to do it in a way to have trades, or now, because now McWinney's gone and he's going to have to be dropped completely, which means they need to find a new player to add into the roster. Hell, there's 2 extra players that are missing. Like, who could it be? Like, seriously, who could it be? I mean, it's insane. Other than that, I don't know, man. Because if not, and it does still open the question of, I think that there still should be a thing with Inner Geekdom. In fact, they had a Get Your Geek on, which they did introduce but never did anything with, after last year's free-for-all, which is supposed to be coming up, and that's going to be a thing, apparently, with this coronavirus announcement, that all live events are probably, with the exception of possibly right now, free-for-all, if we're still going to get it, for which I'm hoping we do. I understand them not just making it a live stream thing, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. That was how I was planning on seeing it anyway, but as long as it's done better than what the initial live stream version of the free-for-all last year was done, I would have just preferred that. Eventually, I would like to see how they were going to do that, and then eventually, at some point, I think they're still going to be able to pull off Saturday matches, maybe. It seems, but they may not bring in audiences, and which sucks for the people who have to pay $500 just to be able to do that, by the way. Which, like $500 a month for the Patreon just to go, you know. To even and because that's less likely to happen now with thanks to this coronavirus, and I'm more pissed because I was legitimately hell or high water was going to go see them in Chicago. Although I would have been more pissed if somehow, some way they found a time to do a later date for St. Louis. Chicago, I don't know. Chicago might be fine to an extent, except for maybe it's more crime-ridden and all this other stuff. I know Illinois is considered pretty corrupt in comparison to over here, so yeah. But anyways, regardless of that, I mean, I'm not saying everybody is. I'm just saying there are certain things in terms of power that probably are. But it's here nor there. Here nor there. I've only just watched this. I'm happy to see Pearson, but that's all I'm basing it on. But whatever. Anyways, nothing to do with that match. But the match was solid for what it was. I wouldn't say it was, and it was kind of neck and neck. There were 2 points. Wound up 2 points down with the Coen Brothers thing, and of course he hit spins DCEU. Or at least he spins Spinner's Choice and gets DCEU because they could no longer, because of the rule in place, they could no longer put Bond on the wheel. But this gave him the advantage. And then all of a sudden, a Bond question comes up as a 2-pointer, which Mike decides to take. And it just works so sweetly in his favor. And winds up getting them the 2-pointer they needed. And then the 3-pointer seemed to have been something that seemed to have worked favorably even towards Chance, if I'm not mistaken. And then the final question was just whatever. It did go to like the final question, though. That we can say about this match that makes it enough to be a solid, but still, it's a bummer. I don't know how this match is going to turn out. I don't know if it's going to lead to Founding Fathers break up, or what are they going to do? I don't know if I want to see another. I don't really care for a heel Roka thing. We've already technically gotten that, and it was enough. I don't know if I can go along with it. The idea that would have been so. But anyways, yeah. Some people are just kind of tired that he's winning a lot, and well, it's just how it is, I guess. But. Now, speaking of corruption, now we have another matchup, and that was the Experiment versus Final Exam. Former Dungeon Brethren in Paul Oyama, now part of having been drafted to Swag mostly just out of spite against Eric Zipper, but also simultaneously to have a big star player, given he was just off of having not so well done of. And it seems the way both Lon Harris's character, formerly the Professor, now the Delinquent, versus the Corruption's new team Experiment, which was the movie geek Mark Hoyk, who formerly of the team, who used to team with Whitney Seibold for only 2 matches, both having been tournaments for only round 1, and put up like 30 plus points. So, if that means anything, and yet still not getting a win. Glad to get a win on any other day. But, I mean, aside from that, and then of course he's paired with not as great of a partner, and it's merely just more for comedic purposes and dark comedic purposes, because, well, the whole incident with the draft being how the Wildberries were basically split up because of Shannon by taking Elliot the Mountain Dewberry. And this is what the Experiment is, and the Final Exam was mainly at that time considered that because of more so Lon Professor Harris, and then with the former champ himself and Paul Yama. Now he finally has a good partner in this entire case, and he's finally found a character that works as both a character and as for being a character and being able to show off his movie trivia knowledge, because they both had perfect rounds, and at least Mark Hoyk himself, but not Dewberry. Dewberry couldn't pull a Dewberry, but everyone else at the table did. The difference is I'm not sure all of them got the questions right, though. But in the bonus, as far as the bonus, which Chance didn't because of McWeeney's thing, which worked, by the way. So he just chills out, and then it led to that whole thing with the corruption thing again. It led to the Houston match we were never going to get between Kalinowski and Guy, a match I think a lot of fans were waiting to see anyway, which they probably could have put as an undercard, but I was thinking they could have made it a main event match just because of the last main event, you know? What happened with that, and going back onto that storyline and maybe doing something with Booker for that. And that's what I think they were going to do, because Guy has history with Booker, and that wasn't going to go over so well when he was Dastardly, and that Debonair's a different story. I don't know how they're going to play that out, given also Kalinowski's been on a certain role, and a lot of people are expecting Kalinowski to win that match regardless. Which I guess they're not going to have it at the Houston event, which they've pushed back, I guess, to June now, or July. But other than that, what's that? I mean, but that matchup with them was great. I think they both got opponent's choice. They both were saddled with opponent's choice. The difference is that, once again, in a similar situation between Deep 13 and Tom and Paul, it doesn't seem like, of the two choices the experiment went for their... And so for Dewberry, they force him to do it, and it just winds up making him look worse, and then they're just... And they had cutscenes as well with those two. There was another cutscene in the follow-up match, but that one was for free-for-all, which was pretty hysterical. Nice build-up going into it, even with the Bibbs thing, or at least more so for how... giving us something to see how she's handling her commissioner duties, aside from being on the desk at least. The classy commissioner herself, Clark Wolf. Fellow LASIK sister, by the way, according to information Emma had given me through Patreon, literally a year ago. And I've also, ironically, had my year in checkup, which has all been covered. So... yay! Don't have to worry about that kind of payments and stuff, so... my eyes are good. Still 2020. Not 2015, but 2020. But anyways. So, just kind of wanted to throw that out there because it had something to do with something. Because apparently she's LASIK. Because you haven't seen her with glasses in a while now, have you? That's why, in case you're wondering. Anyways, speaking of that, I did get to see that trailer for that one movie she's been directed or something. Looks kind of funny. In sick, twisted way, though I feel bad for any of my buddies who do deliver pizza and have to... hopefully they don't have to deal with some bullshit like that, eh? Anyways, so... which I believe is called Satanic Panic, but they're trying to take away the satanic part for, reasons. But anyways. And which by the way, she did call the match with Mark Ellis in that one, in the Throwdown match, by the way. But anyways, neither here nor there with that. But the match in terms of the experiment itself, I mean, we do get a tease in the fact that he's no longer wearing... this was the transition to face, and then I guess the delinquent's more of like a weird pseudo... Some people compared it to Jack Black's character before he wound up taking the teaching job in School of Rock. Which makes sense with that. Their dynamics was fine. It took me a while to adjust. I just wasn't feeling it because of just coming off of what happened at the Throwdown, going into that one. But yeah, I was just... And plus, it took Shannon for you to finally act like a legit heel, Kalinowski? Really? 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 That's such bullshit. But anyways... Whatever. All I could say now... But anyways... Then the final match, which was a really solid match in of itself... which wound up being Jeff Sneider on the Rock's one half of the Odd Couple, and a part of the Rockstars faction, versus Ethan Erwin of Burning Druids. This match would be based on who would wind up in a number one contenders match to face Merle. With the and whoever would win that match to go to that number one would have to face either Oyama or Roka. So, a former champ that didn't do so well, but is starting to get his momentum back thanks to what we saw out of that final exam match. I'll admit he may have an even better partner than what he did have with Zipper. I'll give Oyama that too. And Lon has had some bad history. I think JT was the best partner he did have. It's just the consistency of him being able to show the hell up. That's something that Roxy doesn't consider, and I don't know. And now with this coronavirus, good luck having him come even close to being able to show up. Closest thing you could have gotten is wherever he was living at now is where you could have done a match at, and that'd have been it. But whatever. And Jeff, he gets in his own head sometimes, and that was proven by his championship match against Oyama. In fact, so much so that despite Oyama's nervousness, he was lucky enough to be able to do well enough to be able to retain, even though it was a pathetic retention. Well, it was a pathetic retention, but at least it gave us a win in the dungeon, so I didn't care at the time. Though Oyama's still doing the primetime thing, he's just kind of trying to shake off the heel element and is trying to be more face, which works fine. I'm okay with what they're doing. Sure, the glasses and the jacket. They could have kept the jacket, but it works, whatever. And then I'm glad for the final exam. I think a lot of people were expecting it anyway. I wasn't expecting the experiment to do as well anyway, but. And I'm not sure I'll ever expect it, but they need to, come up with something better, with all this crap, so. But anyways, other than that, the final, then we have this coming up match. Then, of course, like I said, with the Ethan Erwin versus, Ethan is still... didn't have a great year in 2019, and he needed to have a better start. And it seemed, and him and Robert and Renette have worked together before, outside of Schmoedown, and it seems their chemistry does go better together. Or at least he brings a more calmer, demeanored side of Robert Meyer Burnett, or at least he nullifies Robert's usual roar thing or something. And I think he's bringing the more facier tendency into trying to seep that into Robert Meyer Burnett a little bit, which seems to be working pretty well, I'd say. But for what it is, or at least in terms of the post-interview, it seems to have gone over well. And plus, Ethan's really loves that action figure his wife made for him or something. Or was it? I remember Burnett's wife. But anyways, that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. Hopefully they can figure out a way to get all those action figures or something, not just for Burning Druids. But now they have at least 2 wins, although between Deep 13 and Ethan Erwin. Whereas compared to Robert Meyer Burnett put up against Guy, which everyone wasn't expecting Robert Meyer Burnett to win that one. But yeah, I'm happy for what we got out of it. So it is what it is. It is, and it was an interesting match because of some of the steals that happened, and then the 5-point pull forcing him to have to answer at least his 3 and 5 pointer. And he was able to get the 3 to at least put him within 1 point away from Ethan. But it was more that question that he was given that was in the 80s that he was never going to really know. So that one, which bothered him a little bit, despite his age, which it's actually 35. You know, he looks like he's 45. Uh, but yeah, he's, and it's, I mean, it's clear that he's able to, he might have checked out in places, and he kind of checked out there. He used all his repeats, but it just didn't matter because he just didn't know the question. Ethan pulling that 5-pointer, though, was pretty cool. Was pretty crazy, but yeah, it was, and if Sneider was able to pull the 5-pointer, all of a sudden, he would have actually like tied a team's record, tied a singles record. So, which would have been cool, I guess, for him. I guess, and it would have been interesting to see. The thing is, now Ethan is in it. Now the question is, will Oyama be able to redeem himself, and if he can beat Roka, further proving he can still beat Merle? But then he'd have to face, and then Ethan's got some. Well, Roka's got a demon he's got to slay, but Ethan's got one he needs to slay, and that's the ability to be able to beat Merle for that belt, which would definitely put Burning Druids up a lot higher if they have a title on their arm, all around their waist. That's for sure. It will definitely make him look good, make Barbara Burnett look good by having that title, the big title around their in their stable. So overall, I'm happy with what we got, with the exception of how I currently feel about the family not being able to make another run, and that breakup, which that was the whole point of why the Usual Suspects happened the way that it did, and the fact that it never bore fruit immediately, and it's led to, and because of the fact that scheduling wise, McWeeny wouldn't have been able to do anything, so he just chose to retire. And it sucks how it was so undercut to the point where it just came across like it was just staged, and to find out it wasn't, especially when Kalinowski had come in so shortly after, it just felt staged. It kind of undercut it, and it kind of sucked to see that. I feel bad for Linus Babcock, though, who was a huge fan of Bud Line and wanted to see this reunion happen, and he didn't even get a chance to some, and Levine was too busy. This was which was a worse sign too. That the one person that needed to bring that magic wasn't there to do it, and probably could have done something about one of the questions too, and knew about the question and would have brought it in a sense of attention for a challenge. But they weren't sure themselves, and they would have. And I truly believe if Sam was there, he would have done something about it, and it would have been a different story. And there might have been a chance that they could have got a different question, and they would have gotten a point instead. So I don't know. That's what sucks. And the whole Intergeekdom conversation of having it in Intergeekdom categories and singles. I don't mind it if it was that mixed bag style of get your geek on. I thought that was going to be the new start of that, and they never did utilize it, and I think they should do that instead. They should just have a get your geek on to bring in like a mixed bag IG style kind of category, and then maybe pick one normal category, one typical category, and then have the other slice be a get your geek on. So it seems a little bit more on the fair side, as opposed to having two wheel slices of separate types of Intergeekdom categories. You know? Whether it be your Star Wars, your Indiana Jones, your Star Trek, or whatever. I get that it was sort of implemented because of Merle deciding to go Intergeekdom, and he was going to try to use it as a means to kind of train himself while he was still to prep himself for Intergeekdom. But yeah. Overall, match was fine. Just we're fine this week. It just sucks with the whole coronavirus situation, how it may affect free-for-all. I don't know what we're going to get. I guess for the matches we're supposed to get, besides the singles match between Paul Oyama and and Roca, which will probably be Friday. The follow-up match between which we're basically going to be getting. Technically it's 2-3, but it's really more Chandra Dantapani 2 versus Brandon Hanna 2. So, and we'll see what that leads into. But anyways, what did you guys think of the matches? The Throwdown, the Throwdown for the number one contendership for the Founding Fathers matchup, the teams, the rookie teams, even though they're all veteran players of the game separately, but in terms of Final Exam versus Experiment, as well as the Erwin versus Sneider match. Leave your thoughts down, comment below. If you like this video, rock that like button with thrust if you must. Please hit that subscribe button, kick the notification bell. This was Schmoedown Rocks. Rockin' Movie. This is Rockin' Movies with Tyler. I'm Tyler. This is Schmoedown Rocks. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be. If you smell what the movie trivia Schmoedown Entertainment Network, and come on, brain. And Skybound, I think, Entertainment. And once again, Schmoedown Rocks is cooking. Ooh, yeah. Dig it.